Hey everybody, it's Liz Larson with Transform One Idea, where we're always exploring the idea that the smallest shifts can create the biggest change. And boy, do I have the guest for you today. It's Barbra Gilman, who I think may be the queen of making giant change with the smallest of shifts. And she has the book to prove it. I'm here with Barbra Gilman. Hi, Barbara.
Hi.
And Barbara is the author of Whatever the Fuck It Takes, which is a very provocative book title. Barbara is an author many times over, a speaker, a coach, an access consciousness facilitator, a mom, and a former Jewish princess. Isn't that right, Barbara?
That's right.
So, Barbara, I wanted to ask you about this book. It really is meant to shake people up as much as the title is. Isn't that correct?
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah, I think so.
Shaking up as creating change.
Absolutely. So would you tell us, so because this is such a provocative title, just quickly, why did you choose it?
So I actually had the knowing of the word fuck and where it actually started, which was in England hundreds of years ago. I don't know the exact date. And if a couple wanted to create a child, wanted to have a child, they would have to go to the king for permission. Now, I know it sounds bizarre, but you know, that was hundreds of years ago. And the permit was to allow fornication under consent of the king. Those are the letters. And it would come as a little, label or whatever it was, and you would put it on your door. Now, I know it sounds insane. However, fornication under consent of the king is the origin of the meaning of this word that we think is like well, not anymore, but we used to think it was such a big curse word. Well, as soon as I realized that, I thought, wow, do you realize that what it actually is talking about is the energy of creating a child? What is greater than that, right? And so it was like, okay, that's going to be the name of my book. And so that's how we got there.
I love it. That is such a fun story. And who knew? I mean, what a thing to have to get permission to create something.
I know, it sounds insane.
It really does, but it is a tremendous metaphor. And so I wanted to ask you about something that I have heard you say that really intrigued me. And with that being said, I opened the book this morning. I just thumbed through and thought, there's so many amazing things in here. What do I really want to hear from Barbara today? And so I opened to this page. But this is what I've heard you say, that chaos is the energy that opens the door to the journey. So that's an amazing, mind-blowing thing. And I'm going to read what I opened to this morning and ask you to tell me and our audience, what the heck does this mean? Okay, you ready? I mean, really in this book, when you read the bold, you can see there's a bold part right there. Those are all like, what the heck? And then the chapters or the paragraphs after just really explain it so well, but it would be so good to hear it from you. What have I made so vital, valuable, and real about rejecting and refusing money that keeps me from the chaos that would create me from having more than I can imagine? It looks like you're saying it's keeping me from chaos, so maybe I want chaos. So please tell me, what are we talking about?
There's at least three things in what you just read to explain.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you to keep track of it. Okay.
Okay.
So, first of all, what you read is called an energetic process. And in Access, which is the work that I facilitate, that's the magic that can create change in people's lives in sometimes just in seconds, if not, minutes. And coming from being a therapist for over 30 years, when I found Access, which is almost 10 years ago, I was like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe change could happen so quickly. And as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing like it on the planet. And so when you read what you just read, while you're reading the book, you're actually reading what we call an energetic process, that as you're reading it, or as a, you know, as me being the coach or therapist, as I'm saying this to a client, and I do a lot of telephone coaching, which gets recorded so they keep listening, every time they hear it, or every time you are reading it, let's say, make it very easy, a little piece of the energy that holds the limitation in place in your life goes. It's as simple as that. So that's why the more you listen or the more you read it, you have a, like, you know, 10% going here, 40% going there. And all of a sudden, that issue is no longer in your life. It's quite amazing. Okay. So
this is one of the kind of those statements that you would use, you know, what's
yes,
so vital and valuable. So that's an energetic statement in itself, a process, energetic process in itself. Okay. So walk me through the next piece. What's so valuable about rejecting and refusing money?
Okay. And so, you know, again, you've read the book and you know, but as I say, we live in an insane asylum. And I'm saying it, I believe it's real. No, I'm saying it, of course, to be funny. And I like being funny. It's much better than the opposite. But the point is, we are living in a reality that almost everything that we have been taught, or as I would say, that has been perpetrated on us, is a lie. It's actually all backwards. Everything that we know about who we are and how we function and how can we get out of that functioning, everything that we're told, as I say to people, if you do the opposite, you have a better chance of having the life that actually works for you.
That is mind-blowing.
It is, but we're at a point now in reality that people are knowing this. I run into people every day, having my hair done, having my nails done, and I'm sitting with just a regular person, and I start a conversation, or they start a conversation, and they say, yeah, I know, especially the young people. You know, when the young people hear or see the title of my book, they go like this and they jump up and down, and I know that's a person for me. So the point is, once again, tell me what part am I just explaining to you?
The part that, so you're saying in this energetic process statement that what have I made valuable and real, valuable about rejecting money?
Yes, because that's what we're taught. Okay, it's not like your parent is going to say, oh yes, you want to resist and reject money, but that's the energy, and that's everything that we sort of learn in a very kind of undercover way. So for instance, well, in my life, you know, I grew up as a Jewish princess, and for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's basically I was given everything because my parents had that to give, plus a lot of love and everything else. So in my life, I really never had to, quote, work. Everything just sort of came in. You know, people would call me to do, you know, TV show, whatever, interviews, this, that, and everything. And clients would just pour in. And as a child, everything I wanted, I had. It's a very strange way of growing up if that's not what you're used to, or vice versa, if you're used to that and then you don't have it. However, when that is a part of your reality, and what happened to me is everyone was jealous of me. So friends, family members, and that made me, it made me actually like hurt, because I felt an energy as a child. I didn't know what it was until later. And then I realized, and I don't have to go into the circumstances of how I found out from different people, but I got, oh, now I know what that energy was that I would always feel, and it made me feel bad. I don't want someone to be with me and have this energy like this. I want them to be happy and playful. And so what started to occur in the last number of years in my life is I started to create the place where I was giving up money, or I was giving up the kind of money I was used to, resisting it, as you're saying, because I didn't want to be judged anymore. Now, this wasn't an intellectual thought. This was just what was going on. And this happens for everyone.
So I think I just had an epiphany about what this means. At first I'm like, what could be valuable about rejecting money? But what I'm hearing you say is that there was an energy, and everything is about energy. That's another thing I love about this book. We're talking about energy. Everything we're saying here, guys, we're talking about energy. But it, what it feels like to me is was for you a value in rejecting money so that you didn't feel the hurt from these people around you. So there we go, everyone. Value in rejecting money. Where in your lives are you finding it valuable to reject money? Oh my gosh, I have goosebumps. That is an amazing thing. So sorry to interrupt. Continue with your story. So
No, that's wonderful, because let me just give a little tool or a little tip for those who are hearing that, who are jumping in their seats. Or for anything, what's the value of having illness? It's all the same. Whatever it is that you have that you'd rather get rid of, please look at the fact of, where am I holding value for this? And then all you have to say is, everywhere that I'm resisting, whatever, money, health, relationship, a great working relationship, everywhere I'm in resistance of having this. And then all you do is add the access clearing statement, which is, we don't even have to go into the whole thing, just all you have to do is say, pod poc that. So destroy and uncreate and pod poc. For right now, until you read my book or you find it through some other access possibility, it will work. And that's all you have to do.
The clearing statement is really an important part of this book. And maybe at the end I will have Barbara, say it all the way through just so you can hear it. But it's one of those little things that you do learn. But I love that tool. So you're saying, if we realize we're lacking in something in our lives, that we're finding value in and rejecting the thing that we want, then we look at that and say, everything that is, I'm going to delete, destroy, and uncreate it, right? Yes. And then the pod poc clearing statement. It's as simple as that.
It is as simple as that. And most people would never believe it, okay? And I know that most people listening to this don't know me from a hole in the wall, but let me tell you, okay, as I said, therapist for over 30-something years, I've taken every body of work that has come along all this time, okay? Not making anything wrong, because everything is just different. But if you're a person who wants to fly in a plane when you go to France, rather than taking an ox cart and then a boat, this is the work. These are the tools for you. It changes people in I have no words to describe it. This is where we are now on this planet.
Yeah. I really do agree with you. And I know, for this audience, because they're used to us talking about the smallest shift that creates the biggest change in the shortest amount of time. Who wants to spend years in therapy getting rid of something? If you can have an epiphany, just like I did in this moment, that there's value, we hold value in rejecting, let's say, money, and you can just simply reverse that. I know in Access, there's a tool that they say, that's an interesting point of view. So it's just a simple shift in perspective. And then you take the active, you actively delete it. You actively,
yes, because you're working with the energy. If you change energy, everything changes. I talk about, very quickly, my former partner and still dear friend, one of the top healers in the world, can be with someone, and he works with movie stars and princesses and heads of state, cancer, people who have cancer, who are literally dying tomorrow in hospice. If they're choosing, and that's another thing, and most people don't know how to get to the place where they're choosing, but if they're choosing, the cancer could go away sometimes in hours, okay? So the point is, this is reality. And if you're listening to this, please know this is reality. We've never been told that, but it is. And when you have the right tools and the right knowledge, okay, of who we are and how we really exist on this planet, or how we can exist, life changes. If you get nothing else out of this, please know that.
Yeah, I know that to be true. So let's move on. You asked me to kind of keep us going on through this sentence. And so the next piece is that keeps me from the chaos that would create me having more than I imagined. So hold on. Are you saying that there's something about chaos that is, if I would choose it, would let me have more than I could ever imagine? Is that right? Is that what I'm reading here?
That is correct. And as I just said, everything that we have learned is actually the opposite of how we, or what we want to do and be.
Well, let me ask you, because, you know, isn't that the thing that we mostly try to avoid in our life is chaos?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're saying we want to choose it. Okay. You're just going to have to explain it. Tell us about that.
I will.
Is that how the chaos
what we're talking about is quote the lie of chaos. So everyone believes that chaos is a bad thing. Okay, everyone. Actually, chaos is the energy that created the Big Bang. It created the universe. Okay, do you think that's bad? So actually, chaos is an amazing, amazing, incredible energy of creation. Yes, it needs a little ribbon of order tied around it, but it's an amazing, incredible energy, and you want to work with it.
Lovely. I mean, it's really such a shifted perspective, an interesting point of view, that we would embrace the chaos of things. So would you talk to us about the chaos specifically just a little bit more? Because there's lots of people right now feeling like life is in chaos, their life is in ruin, going through bankruptcy, divorces, loss of children. Would you give us one more little tool of how to use that to create? Because I think that would be so vital to people.
Absolutely. And you're correct. And for some people, they're looking at this time as the chaotic time, like the world is, you know, falling apart and whatever. And in a way it is, but it's falling apart to get back together, hopefully, in the way that it was actually meant to be created. And the earth was actually meant to be heaven on earth. And what we're going through now is sort of the unpeeling, okay, of what the possibility of Earth really could be. Because you know right now it's just, forget about it. I mean, it's almost a laughing matter, you know, laughing on one side, especially in this country, and crying on the other side. So embracing chaos is allowing us to sort of, you know, it's like saying you're this beautiful whatever, you know, this beautiful, gorgeous being. And for Halloween, you're putting on a witch costume, you know, with the big nose and the, okay, it's a costume. Underneath is this beautiful, beautiful being. Okay, well, that's who we are. We are amazing, incredible, infinite possibilities of joy and ease and love, and money is simply an energy. As a matter of fact, money is the same energy as play and joy. So when you look at who we really are, it's not who we're showing up as, because we bought the lie of this reality which was perpetrated on us. The chaos right now on the planet, and even though it looks insane, especially in this country, this is what it takes to literally explode everything to the point where people are coming out of being in complacency. They're going to a place where they say something is wrong, we have to change it. And this is the change that is happening right now. Yes, it does have to go a little further, and we are the people that could help it in this way.
So Barbara, I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to cheat just a tiny bit, because there's a tool I am just dying for you to share with everybody. And and it has to do with this chaos piece. So the tool is what's right about it. So would you give us that tool and tell us how to use it? Please, please, please.
Absolutely. And once again, just for the people listening, everything in Access is so simple that 8-year-old children do it. So it's simple, but don't let that, have you dismiss it, because it will change your life if you use it. Okay. And so a question is an algorithm interrupt. And the planet has been run by algorithms. So what occurs is that when you ask questions, what it brings up is the energy that is holding your limitation in place. So it's like saying, the thing that's stopping you from being or having what you desire is here in this little box. And the key to the box is asking a question. And when you ask the question, all of a sudden, the box opens up. And now you have whatever it is that you require to use or not to use. So in this case, your tool would be, what's right about this I'm not getting? And that's for anything that's going on at any moment in your day. So give me just a simple thing that could possibly come up.
Okay, so what's right about okay, so let's say it's summer colds. Everybody has summer colds. So what's right about the cold that I'm getting in the middle of summer that prevents me from blah, 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 doing what I want?
Okay, right. And it's interesting. My friend I'm with a friend right now, and she has this all of a sudden from last night, this congestion and this cold and all of this coming up. So last night when it started to come up, I said, okay, so what's right about the cold that you're not getting? And she knows Access, of course, so she started to do it. And all of a sudden, okay, she got exactly what it was. Today, she had told a friend that she would help them with something, so she had to go and do something. And guess what? She really didn't want to do it. She's a lovely person who always wants to help people, but sometimes you go over your own sort of boundaries, and that's exactly what happened. And as soon as she saw what it was, she realized, okay, you know what? I'm abusing me right here. Which she was, because she was, she was doing a lot of physical things, and her body was sort of, wanted rest and wanted to just be calm. And so it was like, okay, this weekend is just going to be calm and relaxation. And all of a sudden the friend says, would you help me doing this thing that would be a little, muscles and busy, busy, busy? She said yes, not because she wanted to, but because she was giving up her to help the friend. And so she got that just by saying, what's right about this I'm not getting? And she simply made a phone call and she said, basically, I would love to help you. And if I can in the beginning of the week, I will, but I just can't do it. And she explained why. And the friend was perfectly fine with it. Her friend loves her. Why wouldn't she, right? Within a half an hour, all the congestion went away.
Wow. So is this a case of the body saying, okay, I know you don't really want to do this, so here's a cold that's going to slow you way down. So if we ask what's right about it and figure that out, oh, okay, then we can clear it. So how do we actually clear it? What did you have her do to, besides noticing what?
Well, but you see, that's the point. In this case, the only reason the cold, it was because she was choosing against her. And that's what we do most of the time. So the what's going on is I'm choosing against me. And then all of a sudden something occurs, and then I say, okay, what's right about this? What's right about this cold? I can't breathe. My head is hurting. What's right about it? And then all of a sudden, what comes to you is the awareness of that you're giving you up, okay? Rather than choosing for you, And it just opened the door. It's like saying there's a beautiful photo or, painting in this room, but you keep the door closed. All of a sudden the door is open, you see what it is, and then you make another choice. So she made the choice for her. I'm sorry, I can't come, but I have to rest today. And as soon as she chose her body and her health, there was no reason to have the cold anymore. The cold was simply the knock knock, you're not choosing for you. It's as simple as that.
I mean, what an amazing small shift. Who has heard of a cold going away in 30 minutes? If you do this kind of work, and many of this audience has, we may have experienced that. But to have a tool that helps you do it, recognize it, and switch it instantly is fantastic. So yes. I just want to share with everybody a little bit more of what's in this book. So those are the kinds of things, the tools that Barbara just shared with us. Every page has one of those kinds of tools, and then the description for it. But at the back of this book, there's a daily play sheet. I mean, it actually walks you through what to do daily to change what's happening in your life. And she has it's called Your Magical Access Consciousness 6-Step Toolkit. So she's actually listing in the back of this book a toolkit. I'll read them quickly. Choose. Use your personal GPS. Clear. Return to sender. That's a big, big one. Let's see what else is here. Interesting point of view. And then 6 daily questions to ask the universe. So guys, this is a small book. You can see it's not big. I mean, a couple of hours, you could read through it, but you're going to want to spend time really absorbing each of the tools that's in here and using them. And like Barbara said, they're so simple and yet massively profound. So Barbara, is there any one last thing, nugget, there's so many, that you want us to know about this book and how it can affect people?
Other than buy it, read it, and see for yourself, I can't think of anything.
I agree with you. There's so many little things. And it's, as you can see, transform one idea. I mean, I'm all about this. If there's one tiny shift you can get that creates massive change, you want it all day long. This book is full of hundreds of them and some really great wisdom. And it's a fun, easy book to read.
Yes. Well, as I said, underneath this body, I'm a 5-year-old child who only loves to play. So they'll get that.
And it is. It's about playing. It's about taking these things easily, but they're massively profound, which is my favorite thing. Okay, so I know that everyone's going to want to know exactly how to get a hold of Barbara, and I highly encourage you to do so. If you have some chaos in your life, if you're running a business that you want to create shifts in, if you're working on a relationship, and especially parents out there, Barbara has such an amazing take on parenting. You can find out all that information at barbragilman.com, and it's BARBRA, barbragilman.com. And Barbara,
although I don't like.
So I want, before we close, to tell everyone how to reach you, but I do want you to explain just the tiniest bit more about coaching. So hold on just a second. You can hire Barbara in your business as a consultant. Barbara puts on classes and is available to come to your area and also your groups. If you have groups, if you're a member of a women's group, a men's group, a business group, Barbara is amazing at facilitating those groups and creating instant change. And then if you are involved in Access Consciousness or want to get involved in Access Consciousness, you can find Barbara at accessconsciousness.com and the upcoming classes that she has available within Access. And the classes that are outside of Access are at barbragilman.com. But Barbara has a unique way of coaching, and I really want to share that with all of you before we go. So Barbara, would you explain how individual coaching works for a person?
Sure. Well, you would meet me on my telephone conferencing line, and everything gets recorded. So you just start with a question. Okay, what's going on in your life that you're calling me for today? And I just get into the awareness, and we just go. And it is that processing that we were talking about, the right, wrong, good, bad, and all of that. And then I send you the recording, and I will tell you to listen 1 to 3 times a day. So remember, we're talking about energy that is holding the limitation in place. So every time you listen to the recording, another 3 ounces, 5 ounces, 2 pounds of the limitation is now gone. And as I said, sometimes in the first, as we're on the phone, the whole thing changes. But by the end of the week, there will definitely be massive change if you're listening to it, as I recommend. And yeah, and so people buy packages with me. You could buy one, but some people buy packages because each one becomes less, of a price. And they're this issue is now done. So now they're over here, and they go along, and then what happens is something else pops up, and it's not a wrongness. It's like, this is the next place, the next door that you open, so you could go a little bit further up. And it's just that procession of moving and changing and becoming all that you could be.
Well, I think what's wonderful about that too is the realization that you're not just getting a coach for 1 hour. You're getting the coach for that hour, and then you're getting that coach again and again and again daily. It's like having 3 coaching sessions a day. Imagine the massive amount of change that can happen. And then it actually, what Barbara is saying and what I know is 100% true, it takes you to the next place. And then you have the ability to have the next realization that you then come and have a little more support for and a little more help. And then a recording that gives you 3 more sessions a day. So it's really an amazing coaching model that has so much potential for massive change. So Barbara, I thank you so much for this interview and for your book and for the energy that you're putting out into the planet. And I really encourage people to reach out to Barbara and find out more. Again, I'm here with Barbara Gilman, the quick change artist, and now you know why. Her book, Whatever the Fuck It Takes, and whatever the fuck it takes is in this book. And me, Liz Larson with Transform One Idea. Thanks, everyone, and get out there and try this stuff. It's like magic. Talk soon, Barbara. Thank you.
Bye.